A little bit serious about this one now, Maestro, because this was absolutely huge news. Happened effective immediately. Brent Reid broke the story on the Daily Telegraph website at about 10 o'clock today. He has been granted, Ryan Papenhuyzen, from the Melbourne Storm, an immediate release to, quote-unquote, consider his future. So I think we all believe that it'll be R360, his future, but the questions around that are many. When does R360 start? What implication does that have about season 2026 in the National Rugby League? Does Ryan Papenhuyzen want to play with another club in 2026? And who are the Melbourne Storm going to sign after they've got all this money remaining in their salary cap? So all that to play out over the next few weeks, maybe even months, but we can speculate because there are other names that are going to be released by R360 in early November. And there's been lots of speculation about all different sort of names. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is there. And then there's the Zach Lomax name, and then a little bit pie in the sky stuff around Payne Haas and Cameron Munster. And I think Cameron mentioned Cameron as far as R360 goes. But initial thoughts on Ryan Papenhuyzen leaving the Melbourne Storm effective immediately?
Thoroughly disappointed, Jim, just because of what we know he can offer to them and what he offers rugby league. So I hope he's not lost to the game, even if he does spend a year or two away playing R360, and there's no certainty that competition is going to get off the ground. I'm tending to... My first thought when this came through is, what a waste.
Yeah, see, I don't think that at all.
Okay.
I think there's, I think from a selfish point of view, if I was a Melbourne Storm supporter, but even then, he's given great service to the Melbourne Storm. And the Melbourne Storm's been really good for Ryan Papenhuyzen, right? He's a premiership winner there. He's a Clive Churchill medalist there. He'll go down as one of their favourite sons. He's got this long flowing hair and he's tiny and he plays with courage all the time. He's clearly a fan favourite. But, everyone walks to the beat of their own drum. Strikes me as a guy who does things a little bit differently. Strikes me as someone who is open to new opportunities. And he's that style of player where he goes, I don't know how long I'll have in rugby, in league or union. Why don't I, and if the offer on the table is $1 million US, and he's not going to get that from a rugby league club, and he's going to get the opportunity to go and live in Dubai and play a different code and be a pioneer in some way, shape or form, that is very attractive for a guy like Ryan Papenhuyzen, 27 years of age. So clearly an intelligent guy as well. I think I totally understand why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't begrudge him.
No.
Any sense. Don't let me give you any sense of that. But where's he going to be playing? What eyeballs is he going to be playing in front of?
Doesn't matter. It
does to rugby league fans who enjoy watching him. I think he's a massive addition to this competition.
I think he's a standout player of the comp.
Yeah.
Right? I won't say he'll be forgotten about. He'll be replaced by, if Sua Fa'alongo scores 4 tries in the first 6 weeks, 2 of them will be runaway.
Yeah.
And 3 of them will be spectacular put-downs. I'm not saying, but we do move on very quickly. We really do. Jimmy, will our interest in rugby league change with guys like Ryan Papenhuyzen and others defecting to R360? It won't. No one is going to stop watching the greatest game of all. No one will stop watching it, but we'll all have an interest, this is Con, we'll all have an interest in what R360 is doing, especially when we work out what these other names are to be released and indeed been signed over the course of that. What about what the Melbourne Storm have in front of them right now? Nelson Asava-Solomona out at 900 to 950. Ryan Papenhuyzen out at 800 to 850. And Jonah Pezet out 200 to 300. So at the bottom end, we're saying about 1.9. At the top end, we're saying about 2.2. Cap space. Now, they'll have to upgrade a couple, no doubt about it. They did that with Xavier Coates. And maybe there's the option that they have to work out around Will Warbrick and Nick Meaney and Sean Blaw. But, obviously Harry Grant's going to sign a rich deal too, so he'll chew up some of that. But beyond that, they've got some shopping money.
There's almost $1 million to throw at a single player if you wanted to do that.
Right.
And that's not really the Storm way. We talked about that with Xavier Coates and the specific circumstances around that.
Yes.
But there are some quality players off contract come 2027, and that's a pretty attractive sell. If Cameron Munster, if Harry Grant, if Xavier Coates, if all that quality is still there, and Craig Bellamy is still the head coach, that's a big if. But I could see a big name signing being made by Melbourne over the next 12 months, even if it doesn't happen immediately after November 1.
Okay. On the back of that is this from the Freshwater Stormer.
Yeah.
Afternoon, James. I said a few weeks ago, and now I am even more confident that the Storm will get Tino. So there you go. Fa'asuamela Awi, back to Melbourne.
And you talk about the area of their squad they could strengthen most.
Yes.
He fits right into that big hole.
They will re-sign Harry to a 5-year deal and possibly extend Munster for a further 2, which will see him out. You're exactly right. Do they break the mould? They've developed, identified, develop. Do they break the mould and go, we've got some spending money? So how do we go about that?
And Tino, of course, is a little bit of a different circumstance for them because really they did develop him.
Yeah.
They just let him go.
Yeah.
To go and get that paycheck. Now they might be able to give him that same paycheck.
Well, they could give him less.
Yes.
But they're offering success. What did he go to the Gold Coast? To be successful. He wanted to be successful. They're not getting that success. So my question now on the back of that is, if he does want to play Ryan Papenhuyzen, where does he land for 12 months? Here's one. Jimmy, that works out perfectly. 12 months off to find a nice place in Perth and get to know Mr. Meninga and crew and lure other players. Pappy the Bear, says 673. Well, it's going to be it's not going to be a long-term one. It's going to be a 12-month deal, if at all, right? So you've got to go, you're going to have to do another Jonah Pezet. We've got this really good guy coming through, but we think we can strengthen that area. So the Dragons was one that I thought, that could work. I know that Tim Watford has a relationship with Matt Tripp from his time up there in Northern Territory. Reached out to the Dragons and they've said, no, not on our radar. So you can rule the Dragons out of that one. There was another. Here's another one from the Black Stump Eel. So Paps couldn't make up his mind last week, so the Storm could keep Jonah Pezet weak as water. They paid so much money and spent so much time on him to get him fit and healthy with years of injury, and he goes and does this to them. I would suggest that the Melbourne Storm were fully aware of what Ryan Papenhuyzen was doing for much longer than the meeting he had with Matthew Tripp last night.
And our understanding of Pez's move is not the fact that he wasn't going to be offered enough or anything like that. It's the fact that two of the best players in the competition are currently standing in front of him, playing first grade consistently.
And the one that his position he was going to take just extended his contract. So essentially your path is blocked. And it feels like and we talked about this the other day, that the Perth Bears had a change of recruitment manager. And they went a little quiet on Cameron Munster. As a result of that, Munster's like, well, I'm staying at Melbourne. And then as a result of that, Jonah Pezet goes, well, where do I go? Michael Maguire and the Brisbane Broncos come knocking, because that's the other one that we... Jimmy, Andy here. Can you tell me how the Jonah Pezet contract works with November 1? Hasn't he signed with the Broncos before he's allowed to? Andy, I don't know whether we've heard this before, and I did listen to the Braith and Asta, and he's going to be on the breakfast show SENQ tomorrow, but Braith was talking about it on a podcast. I think the deal with Brisbane was done. So he was granted the opportunity to look around by the Melbourne Storm. The deal with Brisbane was done first, and then they went, we've got a hole here. And then the Parramatta Eels came in knowing full well that they would only have him for 1 year. So that's how that worked November 1. So he signed the Broncos one first, Andy, then the Parramatta one fell into place. I wonder if Gus will entertain Pappy in the blue and white for 12 months.
Someone reading my mind. That was going to be my next question.
Really?
Connor Tracy, thoughts have sort of cooled on him a little
out
at Canterbury?
Pappy is a step up. We know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Bulldogs, we know, need some improvements to their roster, I think, to be genuine premiership contenders.
In particular, spine positions.
Yes.
So Papenhuyzen, well, they have that relationship, remember? Pappy spoke about he talks and texts Gus Gould. So I'll say no, but you just never know.
No.
I'll say no. But anyway, so that's what it is. So opportunities opening up for Ryan Papenhuyzen, clearly. Opportunities opening up for the Melbourne Storm with great salary cap space. Opportunities opening up for another NRL club that might look at who is their fullback for next year on a short-term basis. And from the Melbourne Storm point of view, who do they sign and how do they do it? Do they develop from within or do they go big and get themselves a big fish?
One tiny spanner to throw in here.
Throw it in,
Speaking
Maestro.
on behalf of Harry, without wanting to put words in the great man's mouth, I think he'd have Nick Meaney starting at fullback next year for the Melbourne Storm.
Ooh. So
Any chance?
who's your centre?
Yeah, that
Who's
would
your
be
centre?
that's the next question you have to ask off that, and I don't think there is a natural replacement there for Nick if they did move him to fullback.
But hey, far be it from us to argue with Harry.
Yes, exactly.
Let's put it that way.
I just wanted to throw that out there.
Give us your thoughts via the text line. You already have. Jimmy Dragons need some speed. Paps would be awesome for us. Said that no. Unfortunately, 126. My information is that's not correct.